I'm a big fan of using a tripod, but there are some times where it's a little too cumbersome. So I'm going to show you today how to use a monopod to improve your photography. While a tripod is a great tool to use when you're out photographing, it does have some drawbacks. One is speed in setting it up. So let's say you're on a hillside and you have to make one leg a little longer than the other and one a little bit shorter. That takes some time. So if you're in the middle of photographing, say a wild animal or a bird or something that's a little skittish, by the time you get your tripod set up, that bird or animal could be gone. So you want to think in terms of speed, and you want to think in terms of how quick you can move around once you're set up. So I'm going to show you how to do that using a monopod. First thing you have to do is figure out what kind of monopod you want. They make them in all types of sizes and widths. This one is a real thick one. It's a Gitzo 1588. It's made also out of carbon fiber, which makes it real light but yet sturdy. So there's a couple things you want to look for. And the first most important thing is a sturdy monopod. Don't get a thin one. And I would avoid getting one out of aluminum, because if you get a monopod that's all the way out, it can kind of wiggle a little bit. That's not what we want. We want something that's real rigid. The carbon fiber is nice because it's much lighter. And if you got to carry something around in the hills, you might as well make it easy on yourself. Okay, one way to use a monopod is to use it as a lens support in trying to keep some of the weight off of your arms. So as you can see here, we've attached the monopod right to the lens ring in the middle of this big lens, and it takes a lot of the weight away. So it's very little weight that a photographer has to hold. You'll see this at football games and other sporting events where they're using a monopod on big lenses to support that lens. You could still be shooting at 2,000th of a second. It's not for stability. It's not for camera shake. It has to do with just keeping the weight off of your arms. One of the things you want to try to do when you're using a monopod is to make sure that you have some vertical pressure downward on this monopod. Another reason to have a good sturdy one. So you're going to put some pressure downward when you go to take the picture, and that will help stabilize the shot. Another way to do it, and probably a better way, is to create a tripod. So you'll move the leg out at an angle, and then your two legs will also work at an angle. Now you're creating a much stabler situation to shoot that picture in. So the problem that you might be seeing is that this would be great if I'm shooting something upward. So the way to fix that is you need to get a ball head that you can attach right on top of the monopod. It'll give you that flexibility. That way you can use the monopod at an angle, create the tripod, and do a better shot that's in low light. Another great way to use the monopod is to use it as an extender. And you set your camera on the monopod, but what you do is you're able to go and reach higher to get a shot, whether it's into a bird's nest, whether it's into a crowd, above a crowd, over a hedge, over some trees. It's a really great way to get your camera out and away from you. Another trick that I like to use when I'm shooting weddings is I'll put this on self-timer, go ahead and start the camera, and then extend the shot over the dance floor while people are dancing. And then you get that shot that nobody can get with a wide angle lens, for instance. So another great way to use a monopod.